Hey folks, Dr. Shawn Baker here. Let's talk a little bit about meal timing and something known as circadian biology. Let's talk about maybe when's the best time to eat and when would it be better to refrain from eating. And does our circadian rhythm, our circadian biology have any influence over this, or is it just, kind of bogus? So let's give a first preview. What is a circadian rhythm? Circadian rhythms are 24-hour day-night cycles which have an impact on the body's sort of internal clock, and this affects the physical and mental health of an organism. Circadian rhythms influence all organisms, including plants, microorganisms, and animals. All of these organisms contain proteins that are specifically designed and sensitive to and regulate our biological clock. And so the biological clock influences eating habits and digestion, body temperature, the release of hormones at specific times, like melatonin at night and cortisol in the morning. A simple example of this biological clock operating is the human being awake during the daytime and asleep at night. Now, this is different to nocturnal animals like raccoons, who are going to be, on the exact opposite pattern, where they will sleep during the day and operate, be awake and active during the nighttime. Our quote-unquote biological clock is composed of about 20,000 neurons that form a structure called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. Now, this suprachiasmatic nucleus is connected to another structure called the hypothalamus in the brain, and it responds to light input that is received, mostly through the eyes. When it's light out, this master clock, or the suprachiasmatic nucleus, leads to a raise in our temperature, releases energizing hormones, so we are alert, and it helps us to efficiently digest food. However, when it's dark out, the clock lowers our body temperature, releases sleep-related hormones, and slows down digestion. So the question remains, how does this clock affect our health overall? Let's look at some of the recent research to find out. So one question is, if eating the same amount of calories in the daytime versus the same amount of calories in nighttime, does it lead to any differences at all? So interestingly, there's been research that has looked into the difference between participants that ate in the daylight compared to those that ate at night. The research team took two diets, made their caloric input exactly the same. They tightly controlled for other variables like physical activity, nutrient intake, sleep amount, and overall light exposure. The only difference was that one group ate all their calories or most of their calories in the nighttime, and one group ate most of their calories or all their calories during the daytime. The research found out that the nighttime eating unnaturally led to increased hunger, so they complained about more hunger. It decreased their daytime energy expenditure, so they just weren't as active during the day. Core body temperature dropped. Their overall lipid metabolism was altered in a way that allowed them to gain increased fat. So eating at night can lead to less sleep, excessive weight, and imbalanced hormones, perhaps. Sleep is a time for our bodies to repair ourselves, to rebuild hormones and damaged tissues, and revamp the immune system for the coming day. Now, if you're eating during your sleeping hours, you're disrupting a lot of these processes. And so research shows that not getting enough sleep can dysregulate our appetite, our hunger hormones, our satiety hormones, leading to unwanted overeating and weight gain. Having excess adipose, of course, leads to the condition of estrogen dominance, which also can be associated with a whole host of other problems. Also, it can lead to things like autoimmune, metabolic, and inflammatory-related disorders. So what do I think about this? I think that, the effect is certainly there. It's probably not the most important consideration. More importantly is what you're eating. How much you're eating. Those are the big drivers. But if you have a choice and you can say, I'd rather eat earlier rather than later, I would choose the earlier eating if possible. I know personally I sleep better when I eat earlier. I have, I think just better appetite control again when I'm eating earlier in the day. And so nighttime eating for me, at least, is consistent with what this study showed. Let me know how it works for you guys. If you feel better eating your meals late at night or earlier in the day, please leave a comment about that, and we will see you on the next video. Thanks.